All right, everybody. We're gonna get started here in a second. I'll kick off the intro punctually, but I figured I'll just go ahead and stream stuff while we wait, rather than looking at a stream start screen. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do today, and I'm actually thinking we're going to update some of our targeting stuff. So I'm kind of wrapping my head around how that works again. And also where all the keyboard mouse stuff is. So look at that, that's our mouse wheels. What I'm thinking is something we might do. Oh man, use the shift key. Shift and tab for this instead, because I'm thinking once we get into it, what I've been thinking is in order to select the target, I think the mouse wheel will be nice. I guess we could do shift key. I guess if we make it user mappable, that'll be okay. Either way. A couple more minutes before we actually get started. You know what, we could just use the shift key. Interesting. I think that's probably what we're going to do. We'll just temporarily use the shift key. Okay, I think we'll just temporarily use the shift key, and then I think pending if we have any questions tonight, we can work on targeting and cycling through our targets. Oh, I wonder if we could hold shift and the mouse wheel. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. We'll find out. All right, everybody, I think it's about time. Let's kick this off. What is going on? Welcome to another Freestyle Game Dev live stream. My name's Kevin. We do these twice a week, Sunday nights and Wednesday mornings. Right now, it's 10:15 Sunday night and 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. Those are Pacific Standard Time. This works like a Q&A AMA, office hours, if you will. Come and go as you please. Ask questions. We're talking about Unreal Engine game dev, blueprints, visual scripting, basically anything about virtual production and the whole deal. I currently work as a tech artist at Riot Games. I get to do a lot of really cool stuff at work, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't get to do at work. So in the absence of questions, I basically hang out, make myself available, and stumble through my own working prototype, because Unreal is crazy deep. I truly do mean stumble. It's kind of nuts. So with that, the couple quick little changes that we're making. I'm almost done with the full channel swap. So we are going to be taking next week off to be able to hopefully finish that. So I'll post some reminders on Twitter. If you're not following us, check that out. Also, the schedule in YouTube should be correct. So for example, right now there's a stream for tonight. We're here now, and there's one for Wednesday, but there's nothing showing for next week. So I will post the following week streams up right away, or just so that it's very clear that there is no stream next week. And I went back through, I looked at all of our previous streams. I didn't see any questions. I also did not see anything in Discord. Feel free to hop on Discord. That is another change. I'm actually going to be posting the Discord and Twitter links as part of the descriptions. I'm running behind on updating some of the description stuff, but we will get there. as far as updating those. So with that, and because we don't have any questions, we're just going to hop right back into what we're doing. And as I had mentioned today, I think we're going to try to work on some targeting stuff. As always, questions take priority, so feel free to interrupt me at any point and we will hop on to those questions right away. Sweet, here we go. So let's make sure that our stream is correct. It is. Okay, cool. All right, so what I was kind of trying to pre-plan, cheat, cram for class type thing ahead of time was I was trying to get my head around something that we could work on if there were no questions today. So what I'm thinking is, let me show you what the problem is first. All right, if we shoot ahead, you'll notice that there are 3 enemies here. And the way our current targeting works is it just takes the closest one. Now, what if I want to shoot the one in the back left corner or the back right corner because it's weakest? I can try to move, but you know, and you know, I can do a quick evade to get there. There's something to be said about that, but it might be cool to be able to cycle through our enemy targets. So there's a couple things we're going to have to do to fix that or to do that. And let's do, first we're going to need some inputs, and we're probably, let me think here. We're going to need some inputs, and we're going to have to come up with some keys, and we're going to need to make some changes to our targeting component. So let's kind of just stumble our way through all of that. Which one are we going to copy? Because it's so much easier to copy. So let's just duplicate this, and we're going to cycle target on our input action. That's what we're going to call it. And if we open that up, we'll dock it over here so you all can see that. Triggered, consume input, that's all fine. Just save that. And then what we want is, I think we're going to put this on our shooter game default. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm thinking we may have other weapons that use cycling targeting. So let's just do that. And let's do, so here's our cycle target. And the key is going to be, we could do left shift for now. Let's just start with left shift and see how that goes, because I'm actually thinking the middle mouse scroll might end up being better for us, but we'll see. Okay. Also, we should make sure that we are actually streaming, which I believe we are. Okay, great. All right, so we got our input action. That should be pretty straightforward. And then let's take let's look at our shooter man. And what we're going to do is shooter mannequin. So here's our shooter mannequin. This is where a bunch of our inputs are. And you can see we have a bunch of these at the bottom. There's a few things we've been adding, like melee parry. Oh, there's another cool thing that I added since last time. I'll show you that once we get through this, once we get through a breaking point. So we're just going to do a cycle here. There should be something as input action, cycle target. And when this is triggered, let's just start with our good old-fashioned print hello. Make sure that we're working. Save that. And let's just double check. Not working. I'm thinking about why that is. Where did we put that? This is left shift. There are no modifiers. Interesting. Is something else using left shift? That's a possibility. Computer game. Let's see here. Wheel up. Quick slots. Emote. ADS and shooter scoreboard. Oh, interesting. The shooter scoreboard is a tab. I didn't realize that. Oh, there is. Dash is on left shift. So they're stomping each other. Okay, so we don't. I forgot dash was on left shift. Okay, so if that's the case, then let's try. What was tab? Show the scoreboard was tab. Okay. Left control is also being used, I believe. We're running out of keys. That's for the crouch. How do we feel about using caps lock? I've never even tried that. I mean, it might be weird, but it is conveniently located. Let's give it a shot. Okay, it definitely works. But man, it triggers like 5 of them. Interesting. Why is that? It consumes the input. Digital boolean. Default. Computer game. Caps lock. Triggers. Let's try press. There we go. Okay, so caps lock works. I think that might be weird. But it's very conveniently located. I have to think about that. We'll make it user mappable. Let's just go ahead and do that too. Let's find something else that's mappable. Melee. Player mappable options. Melee. So mappable is player mappable. Player mappable options. The name is going to be target cycle. Cycle target. Cycle target. Let's see what happens. Theoretically, if this works, when we press play and we shift escape and we check out our options, gameplay, mouse and keyboard. Oh, look at that. Cycle target just showed up there. Look. Aha. Okay. So that's going to work. So if one day, once we get all of our spells, abilities, and everything figured out, either way, this will be something that users can basically do whatever they need to do with. All right, now let's take a look at our component targeting, our targeting component. We know we're going to need a reference to this, and let's just take a look at figuring out what we need to do. Component targeting. Okay, so we're going to be revisiting how this works. Right now, what this does is it basically goes through and on begin play, gets a controller, we set our visibility of the target. Okay, that's fine. Then on each tick we go through and we check for targets. And then for each one we go through, if we get a hit, we set the target actor. Okay, what we want to do is we want to fill a target actors array. So let's do this. Target actors. And that's a little bit close. So let's rename this. So let's call this available target actors, or available targets, possible targets. That's easy. Okay, and this is going to be an array. All right, and for each one, if it's within the distance, we're going to add the actor to the array. Pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, and then what we want to do is when we're complete, we also need a target offset, no, target index. Can we do that? Let's call it target index. Here, let's do that, target index. And this is going to be a single integer that is going to default to 0. Also, what is the warning here? I don't know why that was like that. We want to make sure that each tick we clear that array for now. We definitely have some performance questions here. Is the reticle valid? All right, that's what we want to do. Where do we want to do that? I see. Whether the reticle is valid or not, we're going to do that, and then we're going to cast it to the player control. We could do it right here. This will be fine. Okay, so we're clearing our targets, and then we're going through and we're doing a trace, and then we're going to store all of our targets. All right. Now, when we do that, we're no longer going to set this target actor here. We're going to set this a little bit differently. We do want to connect our hit actor in here though. Okay, and our default target index is 0. Now, what we want to do is let's add an event. And this is going to be event cycle target index. Okay, whenever we do this, we're going to be updating what this target index is, effectively. And we're going to do this based on possible target's length. All right, now we're going to increment this. And if that is greater than the length -1, and I'll explain this in a second. We'll move this down here for visual clarity. Make this pretty. Do this. Cue that. Okay. We are going to set this to 0. Okay. Now, so let's talk through this to make sure I got this right. We have an array of possible targets. Let's say there's 5 of them. Okay, the length of that is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. So that makes sense because arrays are 0 base. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we increment this and it's greater than 4, I know I was holding it 5 because I was counting from 0, remember? If it's greater than 4, then we want to reset it back to 0. So basically what's going to happen is each time we call this cycle target index, we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how many possible targets we have. Now, if we do need to do one other check in here, because what we're going to do here is interesting. I don't know why this is here. Let's say we have 5 targets, and then we turn to face a different enemy, and there's only 2. But our index, we were cycling through, and our index is now 5. When I look at the 2, if we try to access the 2, that's not going to work. So we do need to put a catch in there to make sure that that is not a problem. So here's our possible targets we're going to finish. When we finish, we're just going to do one check here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our possible targets, length again. So if we're completed, we get our length. If this is greater than, if our target index is greater than this, -1. We're just going to set this to be 0 as part of this thing. And this is just in case. And it's mostly if we happen to switch targets in the middle, or switch which way we're facing, basically. So if that's true, whoops, wrong button. We're going to pop down here. We're going to set our target to 0. Otherwise we're going to keep going. Okay, now we got one more thing we need to do. So this is our check to make sure that everything is valid. And we could probably write a function, get valid. We could like get valid target index, for example, or something. For now, we'll just keep it in line. And then what we're going to do is, now that we have that, we want to set our target actor to be equal to possible targets, and then we're going to use our target index. Okay, now we just did a whole lot of stuff without a whole lot of print strings, so this ought to be interesting. So let's save that. So we've updated our component targeting, and everything does compile. Everybody should be spawning as target dummies. Now, right now, okay, I'm pressing caps, but it's not doing anything. So let's, oh, because we didn't connect it. Okay. Ooh. It's like, come on, man. All right. So what we need to do is we need to cycle on. If we trigger this. And that should be it. Okay, it's not, doesn't appear to be doing anything. So are we even hitting this? We are. Okay, so our target index right now is 0. If it's greater than it, it's not. It's not. Wait a minute. Wait. Our target index plus plus. There's only one possible target in here? How's that? Multi-sphere trace for objects. Oh, it's checking the min distance. Are we not within the min distance? We may need to change the way this works. There's still only one target here. So something is going on. Let's take a look at this here and figure out. I don't want to do this on hit, so let's just print string here. Let's get the display name of this. So we're just going to print the display name on this character. See what happens. Okay, there's at least okay, there's multiple characters that are pinging this. So it's definitely hitting this more than once. So it's taking the array and it's adding this to the array. It's in the min distance. But this array is being cleared each tick. Every single tick, this should update. So we're going to come through here. We're going to add our targets. When we're done, depending on what our target index is. Oh, wait a second. That sets it to 0. Get the possible targets, and let's for each one, let's just print this real quick. And I'm gonna lower the tick on this get display name. So this is what we're going to print, and let's just change our tick time. Tick interval. Let's try every second. Okay. Interesting, there's only 2 there. 3 there. What kind of trace do we have? Is that the problem? Multi-sphere trace for draw debug for 1 frame. Okay, that is way too short. I can't. For duration, duration of, let's say, 0.5. Hopefully we can read it. So this is our sphere trace. Look at this. This is hitting 3 characters. All of them should be valid. Okay, if that's hitting 3 characters, return value. Okay, that's fine. But then we're gonna go through that, and then for each one, oh, okay, I know what the problem is. I figured it out. Here's the problem. Originally, when we started doing this, we were looking for whoever was the closest. This is going to be tricky. So we were looking for whoever was closest. And that's what this min distance was. So we checked to see if the distance is less than the min distance. And then if that's true, then we are resetting our min distance and that becomes the next one. But we're changing this. We want all of them. Okay, and the trick is, not only do we want all of them, I'm wondering, so this should start working. Basically what I'm wondering is if the default behavior is it picks the closest one, and then the player chooses a different target, cycles through them, when does that reset? When does it reset to using the closest one? But for now, let's get this working, and then let's wrap our heads around that. We probably don't need this debug anymore, because I know this is gonna work. Yeah, look at that. Okay, we're getting more than one character now. That's good. Our cycling is not working still. So let's do no debug. So we know we're getting 3 of them. We're definitely going to set our possible targets, and we're not going to worry about setting our min distance. We have 3 targets. Then we come down here, we're going to print the 3 targets. Here's our possible targets. Ooh, you know what? Let's print string again. I want to print string on our target index. I want to see if this ever changes. Zero. 1. Okay, it absolutely changed. 2. 3. 4. 5. Why is it still going up? It shouldn't be able to do that. Why is that? What? Huh? Target index. We're not even moving. If possible targets. Oh, hold up a second. We're just blindly adding them. I have a feeling that there are a lot of these in here. Because interesting. We're gonna change this to add unique just to be safe. Ooh, it did not like that. Please don't crash. Did that crash? No. Okay. Add unique. Add unique. Okay, so here we go again. Okay, so 0. So now we only have 3 of them. It was stacking. There's 1. There's 2. And it goes back to 0. Okay, so now every time I press caps lock, oh, look at that, it's working. So we're cycling through our targets now just by pressing caps lock. Okay, so we can reduce our tick time on this component. And class defaults. We can reset this back. And that should get us to the point when we run up on these characters. If I, for example, wanted to hit that guy, Oh, interesting. I mean, that works. Oh, look at this. Oh, this might not be a... Ooh. Hold on a second. This is going to be an interesting problem. This is kind of cool, actually. So let's get rid of some of these print statements. We don't need these anymore. This is all working. And I'll explain to you why this is an interesting problem. We also don't need this for loop at all, because this was just here to print stuff out. Okay, so compile and save. Let's just save everybody. Okay, so here's the thing. We have 3 targets. This one is our closest. If I caps lock that, we can cycle between them. That's working, which is great. Now here's the problem. If I'm on that character and I move, there's a point at which the order changes. And so even though, let's say I'm targeting on that guy and I walk over here, now that changes. And what it is what's happening is when the sphere trace happens, it hits, the first character it hits is this character up front, for example. Okay, so this is the closest one. This is our 0. Then it hits the, you can kind of see, then the second one is the back guy and the third one is the furthest one away. So here's our 0. Now what happens is, as I move, if I come over here, there is no other character that's being hit. I can't target these other 2 because they're not even in the sphere trace. If I move over, this sphere trace, that's a tough word, it changes. So now the first character in the sphere trace is the first one. And if same thing here, so this is going to move. Do we want this behavior? Or do we want our target to stay locked if we've actually specified? And I think this may actually be cool, because what that means is this is just going to lock for the closest target, and this is going to lock for the back target, and that's going to change. Okay, so we've got a couple of things to fix. Oh, and also we probably need to add the turn in. So when I'm here and I caps lock over to the other character, I can't even get the back one. Okay. Oh, dude, he just blasts right between those 2. It'd be cool when they go when he goes through, if he knocks him out of the way. Anyways. Bottom line is, we are able to cycle our targets now. That is a pretty good win. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the other things. So first, I don't know if you noticed, you had to have noticed, but if I was attacking one of the characters, a bunch of them blocked. There's a reason for that. We have a new gameplay ability. It's the melee defend. It has not been marked for add. And what I did is I went through and I made it so that the characters were too smart, basically, initially. And they were blocking everything. You basically couldn't hit them. So my plan is that right now I just have a random, they have a 50% chance of blocking right now, which is pretty high. And my plan is based on the difficulty of the enemy. Probably the best way to explain that. it will increase their chances of blocking. So the more difficult enemies will be able to block better than the dummy enemies. But the weird thing is they're all blocking, which I didn't think we were doing. Oh, yes, they are. So here's the problem. Basically what we're doing is, for this global defend, here, let's just increase this. Let's just go back to make this easier. Let's keep this 0.5 and we'll just make this true. So what's going to happen now, this is going to just make it easier for us to test. If I come up here, maybe not. I thought this would always activate if they were in range. Oh, that's why. Because they're not in range. If I get closer. Okay, 2 of them. Okay, so all 3 of them. It's the right click has the most range. Okay, so they are all doing it together. Now what's happening is, the reason this is happening is because on defend, the broadcast message that we get, basically what we do is we get this melee attack and we know who instigated it. We want to make sure that the person who instigated it is not person that is like the person who's doing the attack, and then basically if they are our targets, we will try to block them. But there should be a little bit more than that. And what I mean by that is, what's happening is I'm the only enemy for these 3 AI characters. I was trying to figure out how to say that without saying enemy of my enemy. But anyways, I'm the only enemy for these 3 AI characters. So each of them has me, the player, as their target enemy. So this is always true when there's only 1 player. So they are all going to block, even though they're not the ones that are being attacked. So what we really need to do is we need to get the person who's attacking target and check that. So let's see if we can do that. So as an example, let's do GA Great Sword. And this is going to be the power combo. Get target locked actor. That's what we want. There is an issue here. The target locked actor could change, but I still think it's worth trying this. Okay, so this one will broadcast the target locked actor now. Now, the reason I want to point this out is, and this is going to be really hard because theoretically all of this should happen in 1 tick, but there's a delay here. So what might or could happen is we get the target locked actor at the beginning and then something happens that the target lock actor updates as we're flying in for the attack. So, but we're just gonna roll with it for now. Okay, now we actually have a target now. So rather than well, this is actually cooler. And the reason is this is interesting. This is going to update. Oh, so if I attack an enemy, this is going to update that enemy's target actor to be me. Okay? But it's only going to try to activate the abilities by tag. Interesting. So we want to make sure it's not ourselves and that the target is the controlled pawn. Because we're the ability. Oh my goodness, my head works. My head doesn't work. My head hurts. Is what I meant to say. I meant to say my head hurts. Okay, so then that's because it's too late. But what's happening is this ability is being run on the defender in this case. So it's setting the controller from the actor info. But then the defender receives this thing. And what we're doing is we're making sure that the person who is, when it receives this message, that we're not broadcasting it to ourselves. This is basically what this does. But we also want to make sure that we are the target of it. So let's do this. For right now, let's just print this string. And we're going to append. I'm going to append two strings. I want to get the display name of this. And then I'm going to add a pen here. And I'm going to get the display name of this. I want to see if they're the same type when we do this. Wait, what? Hold on a second. What did that print? I didn't read it. It was too fast. Let's try that again. Here's Shooter Mannequin 3. Okay, so... Oh, interesting. They're all still doing it. Okay, that's fine. So... But that's that we're looking at the same type, so we can compare these things. That basically answers that question. That's all we were trying to do, is make sure we can compare these. So we want to do an AND here. So we want to make sure AND target is equal to the controlled pawn. Okay. So if this is true, and we're not ourselves, this is what we're looking for. Nobody likes that. Can't get all that to line up, but let's just go ahead and try this out. Compile and save. So now, even though all 3 of them should be in range, well, in this case, maybe only 2 of them. Come on. Only the one that we're attacking is doing the defending. Now we know that's true because if I get closer, none of them defend. The reason is we're not broadcasting our target for these other attacks. So, but if I caps lock this, only that one defends. So only the one I'm attacking defends, which is cool. And they defend every time perfectly. This is pretty awesome, actually. It's nice to have a stream where things are working. Okay, so here we go. This is all working pretty well. And the only thing that we need to do is where we drop this in, we need to add this same information to our other abilities. So let's just browse to those. So that's our power combo. We need our power combo secondary. Same thing here. So this is what I was talking about a couple streams back when I was mentioning we have got to consolidate this. There's no reason why right now, basically this is exactly what you don't want. Right now, because I've updated the way this works, I actually have to go through and I'm gonna have to go to every single gameplay ability that is doing this to update it. But if we just set up our gameplay abilities to be data driven, just using tables, picking which animations to play, the damage types, the stages, all those things, that would work awesome, and I would only have to update this in one place. So for now, that is not the way things are set up. It's so hard to read what is going on in this blueprint. What is going on in this blueprint? Okay. So that's the power combo, the combo. Let's see here. Power combo secondary. Combo, we need to do the spin attack. Oh, wait a second. Controlled pawn doesn't get set to way over here. Oh my goodness. This needs to change where this happens to be after all of our initialization step. So let's just disconnect this. And we are going to reconnect it. Character controller. All of this stuff. We're going to set our control pawn. And then this is where this is going to happen now. Because otherwise our control pawn is going to be bogus. And I have a feeling, once again, because these need to inherit and they don't, because we created a whole bunch of tech debt for ourselves. See, our controlled pawn is there, that's fine. Great sword. Here we go, here's another one for we Wait. We're gonna set our camera mode. Controllers. Control font. Almost there. Control font. Nope. Yep. Okay. Okay, great sword power combo. Same thing, control pawn's not set. We are definitely going to be changing this. Compile and save. Compile and save. Okay, we are not going to go through all of these because there's a few more, but we are going to, because we have just enough time to finish this up and make sure they all work. So let's go. We're going to switch to the power sword or great sword. The only one that blocks is the one I'm attacking. So if I caps and I attack here, the first one doesn't. It's interesting. It might be worth... That may not be the way to do this. That's pretty funny though, actually. Because this dude's not gonna block. He is gonna block because I'm right in front. Okay, anyways, that one works. Although... there's a way for me to cheat the system because I can just switch my target. Interesting. This just got a little more complicated. Okay, but anyways, that is working as long as we're not cheating the system. So that was the left click. Let's try the spin. So again, the only one who's blocking is the target. But the spin targets everything. Alright, but it works in the sense that it's set up. So if we are targeting only the one I'm targeting, okay. Let's see if we can get close together again. Why are we spawning up there? Okay, what we were checking was the quick attack. Yep, so only the one I'm targeting. And if I go to super block, those guys don't block. Okay, so we successfully did what we set out to do, but it seems like what we set out to do may have been a little bit short-sighted. So, let me think. The problem is, I think we're going to need more information in the broadcast. And what I mean by that is, we have the target, the specific target. We have who instigated it. We have a magnitude, which is the distance. But We need to know if it's a multi-attack. I think is the easiest way for me to describe that. So what do I mean by a multi-attack? I mean an attack that has the potential to hit more than one person. And specifically, things like the spin to win or the AoE right click, those are going to do damage to more than just a single target. So basically, if it's a multi-target attack, they should probably also. Oh, I know how to do this. I think I know how to do this. Melee defend. Listen for gameplay messages. Can I have more than one check? Nope. What? Bummer. I could listen for 2 different gameplay messages. And we could broadcast melee attack versus melee multi-attack. That might be super easy to test too. Let's do this melee attack. Let's just do a real quick test. What time is it? We have 2 minutes. Melee attack. Let's do melee multi-attack. Okay, so that's what we're listening for. And if we get this message, we're going to do something different. If it's a melee multi-attack, okay, for now we're just going to copy this because this is there's a better way to do this, but for now we're just going to copy it. Okay, and if we receive this message and the control pawn is, here's our payload, we're going to set our magnitude. We are not going to worry about that. We are going to make sure it's not ourselves. We're going to keep our cast to actor in there. I think we accidentally deleted that. Yes, we did. Then we're going to check. I'm not going to check if it's a target, if they're my target, because I could be attacking somebody else. But if it's within range, I'm just going to do that. Okay, cool. So this should not change any of our behavior so far. So let's just double check this. So here's a melee multi-attack. Only the one stops. Okay, now let's take the Great Sword secondary power combo, and rather than doing melee attack, let's set this to melee multi-attack. I think there's a better way to do this, but on the fly, let's just see if this works. Okay, so now if I attack this character, both of those characters block. Now the reason, I'm not sure what, oh, why isn't this one? There may be something going on with the attack range here. Both of them block. And this guy blocks. Yeah, I think our attack range is wrong for that one. But let's just add it to spin to win to double check. So So that is going to be the spin attack. We're going to change this to multi-attack. I'm not sure why the third one's not blocking. Oh, there it is. Where's our third one? There it is. Okay, those both attack. See, like, why isn't that guy blocking? That's the one thing that's weird. I don't know why Spin to Win is doing a multi-attack. First time chat. What's up, Dougal Drop? Welcome to the stream. That's a really good question. So for those of you on YouTube, how do you prevent getting lost in the weeds in blueprints? And I don't know if I'm supposed to infer that it seems like I'm lost in the weeds, but it's a really good question. I think there's a couple things. There's a lot of things actually. So one is keeping your blueprints clean. So for example, when you come in here, it is very easy to follow this blueprint chain. All the nodes are straight. If I zoom out, I can kind of follow the flow. And here's a bad example. This is like what's going on here. Here's nodes that aren't being used. I don't even need them. So this is just causing confusion. So why is this here? That was there specifically because this was copied from another blueprint that we've not made into kind of more like a base class. But anyways, as we continue on, it's very easy to follow each of these lines, etc. So that's one thing, keeping your blueprints clean. Second thing is, part of keeping your blueprints clean includes using descriptive names for your variables and your events. So for example, this event is called event activatability. In Shooterman, we have, wait, not the Shooterman. Let's look at our targeting targeting component, because that's what we've been using. That's what we've been working with today. Target component. We just made a new function for this. This is a great example. This event is called event cycle target index. It's very clear what that does. So there's actually a really cool presentation one of our engineers gave about best practices in blueprints, and there's just a lot of really good tips in there. So I'm just trying to remember what they all were, but one of them was basically prefer long descriptive names than to short names, and the reason being is you can figure out what it is. Same thing with your variable names, make them super clear. So that's another one. Another one is going to be comments. Comments are always good. I don't actually have any comments in here. I do have comments in here. So this comment it's a broadcast cooldown time, updates the UI widget. Helps me understand what's happening. So comments is a good one. Just helps with organization. Another one is using functions and events to kind of categorize stuff. So like all of this I don't even need. It's not even connected. So if there are things that I'm repeating inside of a function or inside of a blueprint, rather than repeating it over and over and over again, consider making that a function. So those are a couple quick tips. Hopefully that helps. Thanks for hopping in, Dougal Drop. What are you working on tonight? don't know what OO means, but hopefully that is something like yes. Let's see here. So what we were trying to figure out was why spin to win wasn't causing all three. So look at this. Why? Oh, I know why. I know why. Let me see if I can get this dude closer to. Okay, here's what we can do. We can toggle our press the wrong button. We can toggle our targeting, kill this character, and hopefully they spawn closer. So our targeting now is maintaining that, but we can switch it. Okay, so they're all in line. So now they're all in line. They should all be part of it. Yeah. So they're all doing it. Okay, so that worked. That's cool. Wait a second. But that's not what we want. No, it is what we wanted. It's what we specifically put in the blueprints. But in order to finish off everything, so basically we have our targeting working. We have all right, wait, let me rephrase that. We have our switch targeting working, and we have the ability to differentiate between multi-attacks or not. The one thing that we need to re-add is the smarts, making the AI smart for what they were doing. So right now, remember, we were basically giving them a 50% chance to block any incoming attack. This random float between 0 and 1. So if it's greater than 0.5, we're going to block. So this is basically just using random float will give any character a 50% chance of blocking. 50% is pretty high, but remember, ultimately we're going to tie this to the actual smarts or power or whatever of the enemies. That was all of them. There is no way that they are all three 50% of the time. No way. I'm not buying. Something's up. Melee defend. Did we not compile and save it? Oh, I know why. Because, oh god, this is why it's important that we fix this tech debt issue, but we can, for right now, we'll go like this. Because that was a multi-attack, that's why. And we have the exact same blueprint stuff. And so now when I do the spin to win, I've got to think, statistically speaking, at least one of these characters is not going to block. I was right, 2 of them did. But then that one did. Then they both did. Okay, this is way more reasonable now. Where's our third one going to spawn? 2 of them didn't. Okay, so that's our 50% chance. Now, where does that leave us before we wrap up for tonight? So this kind of is in line with, you know, Doogledrop's question, which is, you know, how do you stay sane and not get lost in blueprints? I didn't see when you logged in, but just as a general example, right now, our power combo secondary, our standard combo, and our standard combo secondary are almost all exactly the same. They all start the same, they all go through, they play an animation, they wait to hit, they do all this stuff. And so right now, as I'm updating these things, I have to go to 4 different blueprints to make the changes. Because if I updated one, I have to go to another one. And that is exactly an example of, like, these things all need to inherit from each other. Because of that, and because I'm not fixing that right this second, what that means is all these changes that I've made for these power combos, I also have to make for this standard sword. So for example, if we go back in and we play with our regular sword, we're not going to do this tonight because that would just be Oh, sorry, wrong one. Oh, none of these work now because this is it. Basically, the reason they're not working is because none of our sword attacks actually are passing the instigator information on. So for example, if we take a look at our sword combo and we look at this information, you'll notice that the melee attack message does not have a target in it. And in addition to having to go through all the swords and updating those as well, we're also going to have to fix them all again because this broadcast message is happening before we even set our controlled pawn. And we need to set our controlled pawn before we can set it as the target so that the defend ability is able to use it. So right now, just because I do not have this inheritance set up properly, we're basically talking about I have to go through and set up because we don't have the we don't have the grouping, or we don't have them basically parented to the same blueprint or subclassing them or whatever. I have to set up the chance. Basically, I have to reset up all of the target information for power combo as well as standard combo. For the power combo, left click, hold, right click, hold. The standard combo, left click. So we're talking about 8 blueprints already that I have to go through and update just to maintain one thing. That's kind of crazy. In addition, because the actual character is being set, the controlled pawn is being set, and I was broadcasting that message beforehand. This is another great example. If I had just a single parent blueprint that was doing that, I could update the order that happens in the one. But in addition to having to update the actual target, I also have to update the order that happens in for all of these. So the importance or priority of me going through and setting up the inheritance of our new melee attack setups with these left click, power, left click, hold, right click, hold, etc. has dramatically increased as a result of all this stuff. But it is late. We have to hopefully get some rest before we do the actual day job stuff tomorrow. So we're actually going to call this a wrap for tonight. As always, for everybody who hopped in, thanks for hopping in. Dougal Drop, thanks for your questions. This is your first time here. Questions take priority. So if you see me doing stuff, if you have questions about your stuff that you're working on troubles you've had, blueprints, I will stop whatever I'm doing and try to help you stumble through what those are. Our next stream is going to be Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. That is Pacific Standard Time. And if you like what we're doing, please don't hesitate to share. You get the idea, spread the word, etc. Reminder, there are no streams next week. Trust the YouTube schedule or follow us on Twitter, etc. I'm putting the Discord in the YouTube description, and then for all of our Twitch people, let me just drop that in here as well. So here's our Discord server for Twitter. Here is our Twitter feed, and we are going to call it a night. I hope everybody has an awesome start to your week, and I will catch you all in the next stream on Wednesday morning. Take it easy.